To traumatize children. A 1984 episode of Thomas the Tank Engine shows a big green engine named Henry, which is pulling a passenger train. He runs into a tunnel and stops there, not wanting to go any further. Henry's driver argues with him, but he refuses to come out, reasoning that the rain will spoil his green paint. To solve the problem, the workers take up the rails and erect a brick wall in front of Henry, abandoning him. To traumatize children, Part 2. A 2002 episode of Courage the Cowardly Dog shows Courage's insecurities manifested into a horrific governess who's determined to make the dog perfect. Midway through the episode, Courage has a series of scary nightmares, one of these represented by a crude 3D rendered creature, whispering, "You are not perfect." To traumatize children, Part 3. The Last Unicorn is an incredible children's film that dives into very adult territory. In the carnival scene, the unicorn is set free, and proceeds to pay it forward to her fellow caged animals, all of whom are harmless creatures made to look like terrifying beasts. All except one, a frightening and twisted, three-breasted harpy with a chilling shriek and some of the most piercingly evil eyes of any movie antagonist. To traumatize children, Part 3. A 2000 episode of the Powerpuff Girls shows the trio traveling 50 years into the future, having a first-hand experience of how Townsville would turn out if they weren't around to fight evil. Everyone they know has gone insane and the world is dominated by the evil villain him, who turned himself into a creepy giant monster. To traumatize children, Part 5. In a 2002 episode of SpongeBob SquarePants, a health inspector visits the Krusty Krab for inspection. Meanwhile, a TV report had speculated that there have been incidents of a fake health inspector, roaming about restaurants looking for free food. Believing that the health inspector is the imposter, SpongeBob and Mr. Krab proceed to present him with a disgusting burger that led to his death. Even though the health inspector is not actually dead, SpongeBob and Mr. Krab proceed to secretly bury the inspector's body in order to conceal their act. To traumatize children, Part 6. In a 1994 episode of The Magic School Bus, Miss Fizzle takes her entire class on a road trip to outer space. The class visits each planet, using the Magic School Bus, which at the time served as a spaceship. While on Pluto, Arnold, the naysayer of the group, loses his cool and throws a temper tantrum. What surprises us, however, is that Arnold decides essentially to kill himself, taking off the helmet attached to his spacesuit. Dark secrets about SpongeBob SquarePants. Patrick is the son of Herb and Margie Starr, and brother of Sam Starr, while Gary is the son of Sluggo and an unrevealed mother. This means that Patrick and Gary are first cousins. Mr. Krabs is the only crab in Bikini Bottom, and the Krusty Krab is shaped exactly like a crab trap. Bikini Bottom is a reference to Bikini Atoll, an American nuclear test site.
I bit the apple 'cause I loved you, and why would you lie? And then I realized you're just as naive as I am. Oh, you're so traumatized, it makes me wanna cry. You dumb motherfucker, I loved you, I loved you, I loved you, it's true. I wanted
have you ever heard that crazy SpongeBob theory about the Krabby Patty secret formula?
Oh, like how Mr. Krabs killed all the other crabs and uses their meat for the burgers?
No, the true secret formula is whale meat.
What?
Think about it. Mr. Krabs' daughter is Pearl the whale.
Okay.
SpongeBob's parents are both sponges. Patrick's parents are both sea stars. Why does Mr. Krabs have a whale daughter?
Oh my gosh, I guess I never even questioned that.
Right, Mr. Krabs killed Pearl's parents and is now using the meat in Krabby Patties.
Oh my gosh,
Right?
what?
Whales are huge. There's a lot of meat on them, man.
I guess, yeah, it would last a while.
Yeah, and Pearl is now being raised by Mr. Krabs to be killed one day too.
He out here being the real villain, huh?
Mr. Krabs is ruthless, man. He's just trying to get some bread.
He trying to open up those franchises.
Exactly, new In-N-Out.
Yeah. Have you ever heard of the Incredibles theory?
No, what is that?
Edna Mode's the best superhero in the Incredibles.
What?
You know like how she's known for making superhero suits?
Yeah.
So in her early years, she actually made a suit for a hero named Stratigel. Stratigel was a teenager who had super strength and could fly. But unfortunately, she died because her cape got stuck into an airplane engine.
Oh, I remember that from the movie.
So ever since then, Edna Mode swore to never put capes on suits.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So this is where the theory comes in.
Uh-huh.
Years later, there's this guy that comes up to Edna Mode and says, hey, can you make me a suit? I'm a big fan of Mr. Incredible. Can you help me out? Edna Mode's like, sure. But there's something about this guy that's like really sketchy and makes Edna Mode feel like, oh, there's some evil in this guy.
Oh.
So she builds him the suit, but she purposely puts a cape on the suit knowing that it will hurt him one day.
What?
That guy becomes Syndrome.
No way.
And we all know how Syndrome dies. His cape gets stuck onto the airplane engine just like Stratigel.
Are you... Dude, that makes so much sense.
And that's why Edna Mode's the ultimate hero of the story.
Dude, we gotta give Edna more credit, man.
Right? Have you ever heard of the Hannah Montana theory?
Bro, I love Hannah Montana.
So as you know, Hannah Montana was a show about Miley Stewart who lived a regular life by day, but at night she was a pop star named Hannah Montana.
Right.
What's cool is like how no one knew she was Hannah Montana. It was like a secret identity.
Yeah.
So this is where the theory comes in. And basically the theory is that the entire show of Hannah Montana, all the friends she made, everything she went through, all the songs she wrote, never actually happened. It was all fake.
What?
So Disney actually released an alternate ending to the show where you see a young Miley playing with the doll and her dad walks into her room. But he calls her Miley Cyrus.
No.
Doesn't call her by her show name Miley Stewart.
What?
Revealing that Miley Stewart, Hannah Montana, weren't actually real. Actually, it was Miley Cyrus's imagination of her dream of one day becoming a pop star.
And she made it.
She made it!
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
Have you ever heard of the Finding Nemo theory?
No.
This is gonna ruin your day.
Oh, here we go.
So we all know the movie Finding Nemo is about a father fish named Marlin and his son Nemo. And it's Marlin's journey in finding Nemo after he was taken by scuba divers.
Right.
This is where the theory comes in. There's a theory that Nemo's not real and never existed.
How does that work?
It's actually Marlin's imagination because he's grieving over the death of his wife and all his kids.
What?
And to make everything worse, the word Nemo in Latin means no one. So Disney's literally telling the audience we have a movie called Finding Nemo, but actually means finding no one because Nemo's not real.
No.
And that's why Dory is such a good friend of Marlin because she has short-term memory loss and can't remember that Nemo's not real.
That makes so much sense now. That didn't even ruin my day. That ruined my whole childhood.
I'm sorry.
Here's a small detail that most people probably don't notice from the movie Tangled. All 5 of those ornaments hanging from Rapunzel's dreamcatcher foreshadow different parts from the movie. For example, that little green lizard resembles her first pet, Pascal, perfectly. And you can't even argue that. And that little white horse perfectly resembles Max the palace horse, who helps Rapunzel on her journey to go see the floating lanterns. Up next is a little bluebird who you probably don't recognize, but he shows up when Rapunzel leaves her tower for the first time, and at the very end of the movie during the celebration. Then you got the cute little duck, and it's literally the exact same duck as the Snuggly Duckling, which is where Flynn takes Rapunzel to try to scare her. It didn't work. And finally, this little angel-looking thing. I don't know why they chose the little drunk man to be one of the 5 ornaments, but they did, and I don't really know how I feel about that. Hidden Easter eggs in the Disney intro that you might not have ever noticed. Let's start from the beginning. The intro starts with a shot of the second star to the right, which is where Neverland is. There it is. Up next, we have Casey Jr., the train. It's taken right out of Dumbo. The ship floating in the background looks a lot like Captain Hook's pirate ship, the Jolly Roger. Of course, the castle is based off of Cinderella's castle. The sparkles that we see fly over the castle is Tinkerbell. Salute. The song in the background is When You Wish Upon a Star, and it is actually the Blue Fairies theme song from the movie Pinocchio. There he is. And speaking of the Blue Fairy, I think she's right there. I also heard that you can see Donald and Pooh hiding in the Disney castle.
Here's a few things you might not have noticed in Coco. When he's running to the plaza to shine shoes, animators threw in some familiar faces in the corner and those piñatas right there. There's also, if you notice, a really suspicious deal going through customs between these two gentlemen right here. Animators also threw in the Pixar ball right there at the top of the screen. And lastly, if you notice, there's a poster on the wall for The Incredibles.
Hidden Things in Disney Movies Part 2. Alright guys, so in the movie Moana, when they're fighting the Kakamora, there's this one scene right here where these coconuts turn around. Now one of them looks very, very, very unique. This guy right there. I don't know if you've ever seen that face before, but look at this. Hey guys, the reason that face looks so familiar is because it's the face from Baymax from Big Hero 6. It's so funny how they put his face in Moana, like it's just the funniest little reference ever.
Hidden Things in Disney Movies Part 3. Alright guys, so in the movie WALL-E, there's this one scene where he's picking up a bunch of garbage, but he ends up going into his little house thing that he's living in. There's a bunch of junk, but if you guys look really, really closely, right here, who does that look like? That's right guys, if you guys look really, really close, you'll see my boy Rex from Toy Story in the movie WALL-E. Super cool.